I mean, this is changing. You guys don't need us you don't need us to have children anymore. You don't need us to make money. You don't need us to protect you, right? All the things 100 years ago you needed a man for, you don't. But there is some place in your heart that you can't lead yourself, and that's masculine value.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, a lifestyle podcast hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsay Simsick.
Tune in for a new episode every Tuesday to hear our honest conversations about topics like wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and self-development with guests who are really smart, really inspirational,
and really fucking funny. It's real, it's raw, and it's unfiltered.
Inspired by our transition from our 20s to our 30s, we realize it's so much more than that. Our mission is to provide you with the tools, guidance, and motivation to help you navigate any transitions in your life and propel your personal growth.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go. It's Valentine's week here at Almost 30 Podcast.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Part of me cares, part of me doesn't.
I know, literally. What does this mean? What
It's
is
so
all
funny.
this hubbub?
It's so funny when you start thinking about it kind of early on in the new year.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, right, that's coming up.
Like that exists.
What does that mean? It's just a weird time.
Mm-hmm. Just take a damn bubble bath. Justin's cute. He made a reservation a week ago.
Oh,
sweetheart.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know.
Someplace-
It's called Chef's Not Home. It's a new place in LA. So
Love him.
could be good.
Is it for you or
What does this mean? What
It's
is
so
all
funny.
this hubbub?
It's so funny when you start thinking about it kind of early on in the new year.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, right, that's coming up.
Like that exists.
What does that mean? It's just a weird time.
Mm-hmm. Just take a damn bubble bath. Justin's cute. He made a reservation a week ago.
Oh,
sweetheart.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know.
Someplace-
It's called Chef's Not Home. It's a new place in LA. So
Love him.
could be good.
Is it for you or him?
For us.
Meaning is it vegan or
Oh, good
both?
fucking question. Good question. That fucker better be thinking about me.
He's like, babe, it's a new steakhouse.
Literally. He's like, have you heard of meat? So that's what we'll be doing. And then we're going to have our event.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be so
Yeah, it's
good.
gonna be
We have
so
our Valentine's event. This is coming out on
The day of.
So,
Yeah.
hey,
See
we're
you
headed
there.
there. We're headed there
Yeah,
soon,
yeah.
guys.
We'll be there tonight.
At the Fairmont Hotel in Miramar.
Fairmont Miramar in Santa Monica.
I always say that weird.
I know. It's such a beautiful space.
So
it's going to be so
beautiful.
fun, 40 to 50 babes. We have Milana Snow there. She's an amazing Reiki healer. So she'll provide heart healing on everyone there. I've been healed by her and it was amazing. Changed the game for my meditation practice for the next couple months till I fucked my whole jive up again. And then we're also going to play fun games, just tell some stories, have some cocktails, eat some amazing food, take some pics,
Yeah.
get some blowouts.
It'll be nice. It's 80 in LA. Sorry to rub it in, but
Yeah.
it's going to be chill.
It's going to be very chill. Very chill, but everyone's going to be cute. We're going to be out of our yoga
a little
clothes.
dressed up.
Yeah,
We're always in yoga clothes at our events, so we thought we'd switch it up. It's always nice to get
totally. Some pics,
Yeah.
get some blowouts.
It'll be nice. It's 80 in LA. Sorry to rub it in, but
Yeah.
it's going to be chill.
It's going to be very chill. Very chill, but everyone's going to be cute. We're going to be out of our yoga clothes.
a little dressed up.
Yeah,
We're always in yoga clothes at our events, so we thought we'd switch it up. It's always nice to get
totally.
a little dressed up
Yeah.
every once in a while. We're so excited. We have a
This-
double episode week.
Guys, this is Lindsay's favorite episode we've ever recorded.
It is, and I hate to say that because I love everyone. So let me preface this by saying that. We've had so many
This
amazing
is
guests.
fucked up good.
But this is, if I had the means to do it, and I will eventually, I would love to just work with him on some stuff.
Totally.
Or with someone, he has kind of a crew of people that he works
He has
with
a lot
on
of teachers.
workshops
Love
and
that.
stuff. I just kind of want to want that to be a consistent thing because I don't know. I mean, it's not just romantic relationships. He was talking about relationships between parent and child, between like, you know, family and friend. Like it goes beyond romantic. Obviously, that's the main thing we'll be talking about. But I was just blown away.
So our guest is John Wineland, and he is incredible.
Incredible. He's an LA-based
Guys, this is like, yeah, this is really gonna be something.
He's a LA-based speaker and teacher. He leads men and women in the practices of embodied masculine leadership, spiritual intimacy, and sexual polarity. So we talk a lot about the feminine and masculine energies that run through all of us. What do we cover? We cover what do men and women want from each other? And in what ways can we effectively, and that sounds a little scientific, but like effectively like ask for it and in a way that makes them feel seen and heard. One thing we talked about, metabolizing like the energy that the opposite sex or the same sex or your partner is putting out, which was so interesting to me.
Totally.
Because I was like, whoa, I do come in hot sometimes. I come in like a little like high energy,
100%.
kind of wanting a lot. Like I want a lot of attention, but I also want to like give and like, you know, just connect. And like that's too much at first for some people.
If Justin and I weren't long distance when we met, he probably would have like puked.
Oh my God.
Like honestly, it helped him metabolize my energy.
That's actually
because
the
it
truth.
was like from a distance. So, and then we talked about too, like how long you should wait to have sex. Pretty basic question, but really interesting answer. We talked a lot about why certain patterns come up in your relationships that continue to. We talked about infidelity, so cheating, what you should do in relationships there. Lindsay basically asked really personal questions that are really obvious.
Can't wait for everyone to hear it and wonder. But I mean, I had to know.
You guys, it's just like
I can only move from
John is so present and crisp and clear and open and funny, and he had an answer for everything. It was just a really flowing, honest, open conversation, and I know that this is going to be like a notepad episode for you guys to like literally take notes on, and I cannot wait to talk more about it with you.
And we hope you share it, like if you have a partner or whatever, like it will
share it with your friends, share it with any females in your life.
Help.
Yeah.
Whew.
I was trying to explain the episode to Justin.
I was explaining to a friend today. I was like, I did a really bad job.
I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't know how to explain. Like it was like everything made sense and it was like so much nodding. It's like crazy. I just was like, I'm trying promo codes, what's happening, our events. Make sure you're subscribed so you can stay in the loop there. Follow us on Instagram at Almost 30 Podcast. We do a bunch of fun stories. Our Instagram's really fun. It's just like memes and us being fun, basically.
Yeah.
Chloe.
And if you want to connect with John, his website is John Wineland, WINELAND.com. He, holds workshops and events and seminars and all of that. So check that out. Enjoy this episode. Let us know what you think.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. This episode is brought to you by Mend.
What a timely sponsor.
So timely. Day before Valentine's Day. So if you have recently gone through, breakup, been dumped. I think you could still have a broken heart if you've done the breaking up, Krista.
100%. Been both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to get dumped. Really.
We're just clamoring over here about it.
It's my first time recording and I'm all over the place. But honestly, Mend is an app that helps you get through breakup. So Elle, their CEO, realized that there wasn't the resources that she felt she needed when she was going through a breakup. She wanted to have a coach. She wanted to see the science kind of behind what exactly was going on with your brain. So she created the app, and she is an amazing female founder, and we are so excited to be in partnership with such an amazing product.
Yeah, the trainings through the app are rooted in the latest research on love and relationships. They work with experts across fields to bring you a holistic training program that will teach you how to feel better, faster. I love this app so much. I've recommended it actually to a few of my girlfriends who recently went through breakups. It's funny at the beginning of a year, sometimes that happens.
True.
There's like movement and transition and people get a little antsy about, their,
like dump people is one of them.
dump them.
And it's after the holidays, the whole holiday, you're like, I can't break up with you.
Yeah.
I want to cuddle.
So this app is definitely for you if that's something, or maybe someone in your life that is going through it. Letsmend.com, LETSMEND.com, and you can use our code almost30 for a free trial. ALMOST30. And you know what's great about an app? It's like no one knows you're doing it. Mm-hmm. Not that it's like shameful. It's just kind of like, hey, if you want it to be private, it could be private.
Yeah, 100%.
It's so nice.
Yep.
All right, guys, let us know what you think. Spread the word about Mend. Letsmend.com. Love ya. This episode is also brought to you by Branch Basics.
Guys, really excited about this one. Like truly, madly, deeply pumped about this one. Cleaning products are crazy. Like crazy and insane that we are surrounding ourselves and rubbing chemicals all over places that our hands are, that our faces are,
That our food is.
that our food is,
that our
like
kids are like touching and shit.
honestly, like it really like think about the like bleach and like all of these like commercial products that we've been using for so long that are so toxic for ourselves, for the environment, for so many things, and know that there's a better option, and that is Branch Basics.
Mm-hmm.
So I am so pumped to be working with them because they are the missing link for living a healthy life. So you're eating well, you guys are working out, you guys are meditating, being mindful, sleeping. Like I know you guys do so much, but also having cleaning products that are clean and organic and natural is really important. It's just gonna doesn't offset that work, but it's a really important part of holistic living. Cleaning products that are clean and organic and natural is really important. It's just gonna doesn't offset that work, but it's a really important part of holistic living.
Mm-hmm. And it's so easy. So I just got my Branch Basics the other week, and there's like a concentrate solution that you add to a certain amount of water for different uses. So whether you're washing your floors, or maybe you're using it as detergent, washing the dishes, whatever it is, it's kind of fun. I'm like a little all natural chemist, but it's just so easy. It simplifies everything.
Branding's on point.
I was just about to say that. Branding is on freaking point.
Saw the branding was like, yes.
And, to ensure that you have a home that is, non-toxic, and you don't have to worry about it affecting your hormones, like your kids' health, whatever it is, I think is worth the investment. And it's not even that much.
And we get you a discount, y'all.
Yeah. Hello.
15% off branchbasics.com. So that's BRANCH basics, BASICS.com. And you can get 15% using the code almost30. I got the starter kit, which basically has all the cleaning products that you would need, just helps you out from the beginning. But you can basically buy everything that you could want there. They have detergent, they have concentrate for multi-purpose reasons, they have all-purpose, they have streak-free window stuff, they have everything you need. So use our code almost30 for 15% off at Branch Basics, and enjoy, and tell
us what you think.
Yeah, tell us what you think. We're excited for this
It's a good one.
Love you guys.
We jump right in. We kind of go with the flow of the conversation. So many of our listeners and us personally, are approaching 30 or in our 30s, which I think is a time when, we're spiritually maturing, sexually kind of in touch with, what we want, but we're not quite sure how to express it. We're dealing with men who are not in the place of being evolved in that way. And it's how do we navigate that terrain, because we see so much in them, and how do we kind of break that that barrier in those like different areas, whether it's sex or intimacy or communication.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm excited to jump in.
So I love that topic because I work with a lot of men. Are you now? Because I don't know. Because I'm a generation above you guys.
Totally.
Just curious. Is it the same? It feels the same for you because women in their late 30s and 40s are saying, "I can't. I can't feel him. I can't connect to him. I don't know how. He doesn't know how to hold my feelings."
Oh yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I feel like men of our generation.
and we're on, by the way. Sorry, we're just like talking. So it's
okay.
on.
Oh, great.
It's on, but we just kind of like
All
jump.
right.
Yeah.
We've already introed you. I feel like men of our generation are, I would be interested of what you guys think, are more in touch than I feel like my father's generation and the generation above me. I feel like that generation was even almost more emotionally stuffed than our generation was. I don't know if it's like what it is, but I do feel like there is an ability to kind of communicate, or it's seen as cool or progressive to be a good communicator or to be more open.
Right.
So I feel like that's more in my personal experience, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, do you like that?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, I feel lucky. Like, I feel lucky that
they're able to share.
Yeah, that they're able to share. Like, I think about my dad, who's an angel. He's so sweet, but he never, he's so sweet and he shows me he loves me, but he's never said, "I love you." Just because it's almost like,
Same with my dad, yeah.
it's very
Similar.
interesting.
Or they just show it and, do you need money? Or you're doing great.
Right.
Yeah.
But, emotionally stunted. It's never like, hey, how you doing? How was your day?
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, well, men have not been taught to lean into that, right? At least, especially older men have not been taught to lean into that. In fact, most guys kind of avoid that like the plague. Like, how are you doing? Especially if it's a difficult time. You know what I mean? Like if you're in an emotion that they don't want to deal with, right? So training men's nervous systems to be able to lean in is a big piece of the work that I do. And, I posted about this the other day because I think one of my pet peeves is that men's work has been very good at teaching men how to express how they feel, but it doesn't necessarily teach them how to hold the emotions of others. So there's been this kind of, especially women, right? So there's been this kind of belief that, the last 40 years, guys have been, getting in touch with their feelings and going out and doing drum circles. And I love that. I'm part of that. But that's not necessarily the masculine in terms of being able to hold something, right? If you're expressing something, it's not necessarily the same thing as being able to hold something. And so I see a lot of guys who are younger come into the work that I do, and they're super aware, super able to communicate, but they're not able to hold. And that's a different training. So I don't know if you guys experience this, but being able to hold your emotion or hold space for you is just a different skill set than being able to express my emotions. Yes. And, there's implications sexually, there's all kinds of stuff that comes from that. But that's I think, as guys are starting to define masculinity, like what is masculinity, I think it's clear that we differentiate those things, right? So that guys can know, like, okay, great, me expressing my emotion, that's one piece of it, but training my nervous system to hold her emotions, that's a whole other musculature,
How do you connect that emotional with the physical? Like when you say it's a nervous system training, like because that's interesting. I've actually never heard that. Like, how would you connect those? How do you connect those?
Well, I think I get what you're asking, but direct me if I'm not answering it the way you want. But I think that I come from this framework of looking at the masculine and the feminine and everything, right? Like we all have a masculine, we all have a feminine. That gender is not really that important, especially my daughter's 20. So especially for, that generation, they're so fluid, but we all have a masculine, we all have a feminine. And the masculine in all of us is the thing that never changes, right? There's a part of you that's you now. It was you when you were 5. It's you when you die, right? And that witness, if you're an Eckhart Tolle fan, like the witness, that's our masculine. But everything that's changing, right? All of our emotions, the world, the feelings going through our body, all that is the feminine. And so the more somebody's identified with everything that's changing or the flow, the more that they're feminine in nature, and the more someone's like wanting more stillness and peace and nothingness, the more they're masculine. And so training our own nervous systems, like the way that I work with men is I try to teach them to work with their own nervous systems so that they can hold their own feminine, right? Their own emotions, their own thoughts, really impacted. But if the front of my body's open and soft and my spine is strong and I'm breathing, and then you feel safe to bring me whatever's going on in your world. It could be a child, right? It could be, woman, anybody, be another man, anybody who's emoting. So physically, there's a posture, I guess I would say, to masculine practice. There's a presence. Presence is a new commodity, and teaching men to be present is part of I think that's what you're asking. Part of, that's the physicality of being able to. And then if I'm present and my body's open and relaxed, and then I'm emoting, right? It's probably attractive, right? Or at least it's inviting. Versus if my body's collapsed and I've collapsed and I'm emoting, then there's nothing for my partner to connect to. So the physicality of it is really about holding structure, I guess, would be the way that I would put it. And that's yogic. And it's, meditative, and there's a nervous system training to that because a lot of guys just don't have that capacity.
It's interesting to think about like kind of the other way around. Like, so when have you seen, the woman having to tap into her masculine and be still and present and grounded?
Right.
How do you incorporate that into like this exploration of like balancing and having both energies inside of you? I think if you tell a man like, well, that's your feminine energy, he's like, what?
Right.
So
yeah, 100%.
how do you navigate that?
But you can feel it though, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can be like, well, this is attractive and I want to lean into this, and this is not attractive and I'm kind of like, I don't know what to do with this. And that's agree with this. And that's a great question because I work with a lot of women, and I have a women's group that I'm running, and this is a big piece. Like, what's my sacred masculine? What's my healthy masculine? And for mothers specifically, there's nothing more feminine, at least in the way that I'm describing it, as children. I mean, just all emotion, all expression, like especially under 10, and in their toxic masculine, their response is kind of stop it, or my way or the highway, or do what I say, right? That's kind of the toxic masculine that we've learned, which is, which has been kind of cultural for a while, right? A healthy masculine creates a container, creates a structure to hold the emotions of a child or whatever, or your man, right? You know what I mean? Like if he's like in a deep depression or in a funk or just highly emotional, your capacity to hold a container for him is actually really, it's your masculine giving his feminine space to feel. And then, but in a sacred masculine, as I would call it, it's about liberating his heart or their heart. So for children, what I work with mothers a lot on is how would you like a masculine presence to treat you when you're highly emotive, like almost uncontrolled, like a kid's tantrum, right? Would you tell them to shut up? Would you, sit there and hold space for them and let them, just emote? Or would you like do something that liberates their heart? And so it could be something like, picking them up and tickling them. It could be like, like playing with them. And so a place where a lot of women are using this technology, I guess you'd call it, is how to be a masculine presence for the child, right? How to liberate love, right? That's the masculine gift, is to liberate something that's,
because they feel like they have to be the one that tells them what to do and set that standard, so that it's more like grounded and present rather than do this, do that. Okay.
Well, it's also more like making it okay. I mean, the feminine in all of us wants to express.
Right.
I have a very strong feminine. Like I want to be able to express without being wrong. So a child, if you think about a child, a child wants to be able to express, and if there's pain, right? If I'm making that pain, if I'm loving that pain, right? There's one thing to hold space for it. There's another thing to make it wrong. But the highest act would be to love it, right? Play with it, like I say, throw them over your shoulder and play with them until they giggle. And then you've liberated them from whatever pain that they're in. So it's like my teacher, one of my teachers gives this example of if your partner's complaining, if you're a man and your partner's complaining to you, like you could get defensive, right, which is what most guys do, or you could spin her around and pull her towards you and tell her it's sexy when she complains, right? And one is going to evoke a response that's kind of like a liberation, and one is going to evoke something else. So training guys.
That's how I like to be. Like when I'm doing something, I like when Justin's my boyfriend, like kind of makes fun of me or like just like makes it a joke.
Yeah.
Because whatever I'm saying or complaining about is nothing. If it was something serious, it would be taken seriously, and I would make sure of that. But
right.
I like that response. Like I normally, if I say something that it's kind of like, I like when someone kind of makes fun of me or like just like makes it a joke.
Yeah.
Because whatever I'm saying or complaining about is nothing. If it was something serious, it would be taken seriously, and I would make sure of that. But
right.
I like that response. Like I normally, if I say something that it's kind of like, I like when someone makes fun of me or just like makes light of the situation, because it brings me back to presence of like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal.
Right.
And then it just lets it go. You let it go. You're like, okay. But if they say something negative back, then you're kind of in that cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if they get defensive, right? Which is, kind of the standard guy thing, which is, but I do all this. Right? Look at all the stuff I do. And you're complaining about the one thing I don't. And so that's how guys typically experience it, which doesn't create connections. So, training their nervous systems to be open to new possibilities, to make play, from it, or to, usually the body has something to do with it, right? Whenever anybody's in a bad mood, the general feminine bad mood is there's not enough love. The general masculine bad mood is I'm burdened.
Yeah, like she wants too much. She's nagging.
Yeah, there's too much. Don't, stop it. I've got too much shit to do, So liberating somebody from a closed heart is a beautiful gift. It's not just a masculine one, but that's kind of if you're going to think about the sacred masculine, that's how I would describe it. Yeah.
What do you tell relationships like that? So, they come in and the man feels, as if she's asking too much. She's nagging. I do so much. I provide for the family, X, Y, and Z. And then she feels like she's not seen or she's not receiving enough love. Like, what are some things that you suggest to people like that?
Yeah, that's kind of the common thing. Yeah, that's the big one.
I felt like that was like my family.
My
parents.
Look,
100%.
First of all, I relate to him because I've been there, right? And I think both beautiful. Right? And so training men to feel beyond the complaint into what's really going on in her heart is, I think, the key to shifting that. Like, so it's not just a complaint. Like, there's a desire in her heart. Her heart wants more love, or her heart wants to be seen, or her heart wants to be felt. And so you could hang out here on the surface of the complaint and like try to deal with the content, or you could, dive into, what's really going on, which is that she's probably, not always, but 90% of the time just not feeling loved or seen or felt, and go for that. Develop the skill set to, play with that, open that.
You have to be really committed.
I think there's a willingness from both parties.
Yeah.
It's like, I think half the battle is like getting there to want to, communicate in that way. I think, I don't know, I'm just speaking from my own experience, like with our like parents' generation, it's usually like one of them wants to work on it, and then the other's like, well, you just need to fix what you're doing and then everything will be fine.
Right.
How do you like deal with that ego?
Can you help
Is
our
that
parents'
ego?
marriages?
Right.
That's actually what this is about.
Yeah, literally. So I'm curious if that happens with you guys. Like, does that happen? Where
what
you're
is
like,
what was the thing?
are both people willing to work
you
on
need
it?
to work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't experienced that in a while. I haven't been in a relationship in a while.
I used to do that in a relationship.
Yeah.
Before
if
that was
just,
like,
if he just
yes.
did X, that would be enough
it'd be
love.
fine.
Yep. It would be like it would always be like me. It was kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like my power play. I would just like power play it, and like no matter what, I was always right. And no matter what, I would always be, I was like, we're great communicators, because he would always just concede to whatever I would say. And, no matter what, I would always be, I was like, we're great communicators, because he would always just concede to whatever I would say. And, I'm like pretty good with my words in situations like that. So I was just like manipulative enough to like make him always feel wrong, about stuff, which is like kind of sad. But yeah, I was just always like, you need to fix whatever.
Well, but then after a while, you won't respect him.
100%. That's why we're not together.
Yeah.
It's like, which is, the poor thing. It's like.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, it's kind of like, the feminine, again, the feminine in all of us is not gender-based, but the feminine in all of us wants to tussle. The masculine wants everything to come to a nice, tidy end.
Why is that?
It's just the nature of,
it's crazy.
Because, well, I mean, I don't want to get too esoteric on your audience here, but, okay, so the masculine in me, I would rather be out on a beach by myself, or up in the mountains by myself, or, meditating, or just kind of feeling the void, right? Most men settle for the void of television or beer or something else that's kind of this faux nothingness. So the masculine in all of us wants, masculine in you guys probably wants nothingness. They're free. Like the masculine myth is I'll be free when, I'll be free when I make enough money. I'll be free when she stops complaining.
That's such a good one.
I'll be free. Yeah, I'll be free when. The feminine myth is there'll be enough love when. There'll be enough love when, he or she appreciates me. There'll be enough love when I find the right one. There'll be enough love when I change this, And both of these things are myths, because there's never enough freedom for the masculine in us, and there's never enough love for the feminine in us. I mean, I'm sure you've had the experience of having a blissful moment, or like you felt totally loved and seen, but, the next day you're like, okay, where's more? And completion in the masculine nervous system is kind of a sense of freedom. Like we've resolved that, haven't we? Now we've resolved that argument, yeah? So now I'm free, right? And the feminine in all of us wants to tussle. Like, no, like
there's more.
Love. Yeah, a little more. Like, even if the tussle is a fight sometimes, right? So, the key, I think, to good relationship is celebrating those differences versus trying to make us more like the other. If I know, my girlfriend's a, very successful, powerful woman. And, but she wants to tussle. And the moment I make that tussle right, like I'm like, you're adorable when you complain to me like that, or you know what I mean? Or something, and I make that and I start tussling with her. She's happy because we're tussling, right? And the moment that she blesses my, surf trip by myself, I feel happy because, you know what I mean? She's celebrating the fact that I need time on my own. So if we can celebrate those differences versus make them wrong or try to change them, which I think is what a lot of people do, then we're just in a much better space.
Why do we deem them wrong? Because it's not us?
Yeah, because it's not us. Alison Armstrong talks about, women thinking that men are hairy women. Right. I mean, it's kind of a crude example, but she's got a point. And men actually think that, women are, smooth, soft men. Right. And it's not. Like, why can't she be more responsible? Why can't she honor her word? Why does she change her mind? Like, if she's feminine in nature, just like when I'm in my feminine or anybody's in their feminine, then we're with the flow. Like, what's true this moment might not be true this moment. And if I'm thinking from my masculine, I'm like, but you said X, Y, and Z. Can't change your mind now, right? So guys are constantly trying to make their women have more integrity, be more in their word, be more responsible. And it's kind of a way of masculinizing them versus celebrating the fact that that's not their nature. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So are people, when they're born, is it like genetic to be in a certain amount of I know this is like making it But is it when you're born, are you born a certain amount of masculine or feminine, or is it like nature or nurture? And does it change as you get older?
Well, yeah, I mean, this hormonal piece, right? There's testosterone versus estrogen, right? And when men, actually Luke taught me this, he got it from John Gray, but it's really true. When men get angry, their body produces estrogen. So they're literally, as they're getting more and more fired up, they're literally, right? Yeah. They're literally getting more feminized by their hormones.
It's not testosterone?
No.
Wow.
Estrogen. Yeah. We think it's testosterone, but it's not. Yeah. It's hard to measure, but the statistics I've heard are 90% of men, give or take, are born with a masculine essence, meaning sexually, relationally, they'd like to lead. And they'd like to, they want to, I guess a way that I always kind of get people to feel this is like, would you rather, penetrate her open heart and body with presence and consciousness, or would you rather her penetrate you and lead you somewhere relationally or sexually? Most guys are like, no, I want to be, right? And most women, not all, are no, I want to surrender to somebody I trust, right? Does that feel true to you guys? Yeah. So that's how you can tell relationally or sexually. Most guys are like, no, I want to be, right? And most women, not all, are no, I want to surrender to somebody I trust, right? Does that feel true to you guys? Yeah. So that's how you can tell whether your essence, at least sexually or relationally, is masculine or feminine. And most women now are much better at the cultural masculine than men. I mean, women under 30 are making more money than men under 30. This is going to change. I mean, this is changing. You guys don't need us you don't need us to have children anymore. You don't need us to make money. You don't need us to protect you, right? All the things 100 years ago you needed a man for, you don't. So, but there is some place in your heart that you can't lead yourself, and that's masculine value. Like there is something that you can't give to yourself that is the gift of a man to a woman, or a masculine partner to a feminine partner. And I think guys are coming to grips with that. Like, it's not enough for me to just make money and be a good dad. She's still not happy.
Yeah.
Why? The myth of the good husband. And it's because women intuit that they don't really need men the way they used to, and they intuit that there's some place that they want to be led. I took a little sidetrack there, but I think that's a big piece of what I see in relationship.
Wow.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor, Four Sigmatic. Almost 30 Nation has spoken. They love Four Sigmatic. Kristen and I are huge fans. I honestly feel like a different person, and I'm not just saying that because this is an ad. I am so thankful because I was feeling anxious and that coffee is bad. But for me, it just did not sit well in terms of like my exercise routine, when I needed to be focused throughout my day. So Four Sigmatic has changed that. I am drinking the lion's mane when I need to get focused and grounded. I am taking cordyceps, drinking cordyceps before my workout. Reishi is so nice before bed. Like, damn, it's a little chocolate milk kind of thing. If you mix it with nut milk, okay. But at Four Sigmatic, they believe in the real magic of functional mushrooms like reishi, chaga, cordyceps, and lion's mane. And they mix it with other superfoods and adaptogens to help people live healthier and more enhanced lives. And it's true. I truly feel the difference. They also have elixirs, coffees, where they mix mushrooms and coffee, as well as superfood blends. And they come in single serve packets, which I love. So you don't have to worry about portions. It's already portioned out. It's so convenient to carry with you wherever you go. And you can blend it with hot water and nut milk, or just hot water, mix it in shakes and smoothies. You can get really creative. We love Four Sigmatic so much. You can go to Four Sigmatic Sigmatic, FOURSIGMATIC.com/almost30, and you will get 15% off your first order. So forsigmatic.com/almost30. And at checkout, you will see you have a 15% discount. Stock up. Trust me, this is one of the best gifts you can give someone. I gave it to everyone around the holiday time. People are still talking to me about it. I get it. You'll love it. And also, we have an exciting announcement. We have a Four Sigmatic giveaway going on right now this week. So stay tuned on our social media. We will be telling you all the terms, but here we will tell you that you can subscribe to our newsletter or subscribe to our YouTube page or subscribe on iTunes to our podcast and write a review page or subscribe on iTunes to our podcast and write a review. All of those get you entered into this giveaway, which is a bundle of Four Sigmatic products. You don't want to miss this one. You know, investing in your health sometimes is not the cheapest, but hey, we pay now so we don't have to pay later. It's so true. So let us know how you're liking the Four Sigmatic products that you've gotten, and we will happily answer any questions that you have or pass them on to our friends at Four Sigmatic. We love you guys, and please enter the giveaway. This episode is also brought to you by Hum Nutrition. HumNutrition.com is where Kristen and I go for our supplements and vitamins. As you guys know, Hum Nutrition has been with us since the beginning of Almost 30 time, and we are so grateful to them. They are a brand that we stand behind 100%. It's so easy. You can go to HumNutrition.com, take a short quiz, and a leading nutritionist will recommend 3 to 5 supplements or vitamins to kind of get you started to fill specifically your needs, whether you're not sleeping, perhaps you want to see improvement in your skin, in your hair, your nails, maybe you're having digestive issues, maybe you are trying to combat symptoms of, having your period, having cramps, whatever it is. It can be tailored specifically to you, which is amazing. So go to humnutrition.com. You can use our code almost30nation, ALMOST30NATION for 15% off your order. The group, our secret Facebook group, is popping off about what's been working for them when it comes to Hum Nutrition products. We love them so much. So let us know what you're taking. My favorite right now is the gut instinct. Just trying to get my gut. I wanted to ask because a lot of our listeners lately have been asking us, a lot of them are like stepping out of long-term relationships, ironically, just like a ton of them. And they're like jumping out onto the dating scene now. And, I'm navigating this, and I'm coming from a long-term relationship where, we had done so much work and we're, totally comfortable with each other and expressing this and opening our hearts and all of that. So when you step into kind of this new territory of getting to know someone in the beginning, like how soon do you open your heart? Like, and once you feel like kind of the energy of them being like, whoa, like what's going on? The typical, like, this is too much too soon, or, whoa, I don't know what this is. It's like all this gray area that we have to navigate even at this age still. Like I definitely did in my early 20s, but even now in my 30s, I'm like, what is this?
Early 20s too, it's like you were drunk. And you'd be like,
totally.
You'd always like you'd be like, wait till you're drunk. And then you're like, I love you. And you're like, I love you. And you're like, do you remember what you said last night? And then you're like, I
love
like,
you. You want to fuck? And you're like, okay.
Literally, you were like, get drunk, say I love you, and have sex for the first time. Like, what? But now I think as you're older, it's kind of like, you're like more aware. You're like, 100%. I think we might be sober when we like say I love you.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Good question.
So you're curious as to how and when you should open your heart?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's
or
not
about
a
the
formula.
Process too.
It's just like when you meet that superficial resistance, because like I think they probably want to feel that eventually, but they're like, oh, it's too soon. Like if I tell my guys, like I'm already like opening up about what. Sorry, it's not a good impression of a guy.
That's her guy's voice.
That's you mansplaining? Yeah, okay.
We love men, obviously.
No, we do. But I really want to know, like, is it too much too soon? And, am I not
that's you
respecting?
Yeah, okay.
We love men, obviously.
No, we do. But I really want to know, like, is it too much too soon? And, can I do a better job at doing a little bit of the dance that would kind of attract them in a healthy way. I'm not saying like play a game. It's just more like, how do I dance better?
Right. And how can I be authentic
Good
doing
one.
it, right? Yeah, okay. Well, I think a good way to do it is to just, so if we get really good at paying attention to each other, right, we can notice if something is opening or closing the other, right? So not necessarily with saying I love you, but just with energy, right? I love you, or an open heart, it's just a kind of energy. Well, again, the masculine is not at home in energy. The masculine wants, or his natural, it's not that he wants, but his natural inclination is less. And y'all are a lot of something, right? The masculine wants nothing in his heart. And I'm assuming that these guys are kind of masculine guys. So modulating, right? So the perfect example is, let's say you're really excited to see him. You're on a date, the second, third date, and you're really excited to see him. Well, giggling or giving a little smile and then noticing like, wow, does he contract or does he smile back and take a deep breath? Like literally like watch his body. Did me giggling and smiling at him or running into his arms open him, or did it close him? And if it opened him, that means he's ready for more. And if it closed him, that means, okay, well, maybe he's just not quite ready for how much love I have, right? Because, at essence, the feminine is love. At essence, the masculine is consciousness. And again, this is for love if we're in our feminine. But if the other's not quite ready for whatever reason, had a hard day or a little nervous about commitment or all of those things, you check it out. Like try something, like try even broaching it, like even, talking about how you feel when you're around him and see, does he tighten? Does his breath get shorter? Do his shoulders, does he
get a
turn
boner?
away? Does he get a boner? That's a good way to see if you.
That's a good way to see.
That's
my tracker.
I mean, I guess if you could check for that in the restaurant, but let me see, like, I'm really digging you right now, and then you check and see if he got hard.
No,
but
literally.
That's one approach. Yeah, but you could probably see if he takes a breath. Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like, he's like,
I think. So you hold your breath when you're kind of
when you
so
tense.
true.
Yeah, when you tense. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like,
what if they're, what about like joking and deflecting and kind of coming at you at with a Rugrats flirting where they're like making fun of you?
Right.
Sorry, am I speaking for myself?
Some of that's
Rugrats flirting.
right? Yeah. Well, again, I'd have to see the dude.
It's kind of like when they make fun of you. They're like,
flirting
like that.
Well, see, most of the time, if you do something like that, and he, calls you a dork or flirt, whatever the Rugrats flirting is, I'd take that as a sign of opening.
Yeah.
Right. He's playing now. He's tussling with you.
that's how it's like tussling.
Right.
Yeah,
he's
Tussling, man.
Now he's
I'm
tussling.
going to use that word
Yeah.
so
Love
much.
that.
This
It's
week.
tussling,
It
yeah.
actually comes from my teacher, but
love
tussling
that.
is such a great way to describe it because that's what love is. It's a tussle. Right? At least when it's sexy, it's a tussle, right? And so, you could think of this if you're in a relationship, for those of your listeners who are, if he's working, like let's say he's writing, he's on his computer. So, you could think of this if you're in a relationship, for those of your listeners who are, if he's working, like let's say he's writing, he's on his computer, he's doing some work, right? And he's single-mindedly focused, and you come in and you're just like, honey, right? And he's like, oh, shit. Like,
literally, like, bitch is bad.
Yeah. You might just, you might modulate it. And so you come in, with a cup of tea, and you bring a cup of tea and set it down to him and see if he relaxes. And if he relaxes, then maybe you can kiss him on the back of the neck and then see what happens. Then he tenses and you're like, okay, that's about all he can handle right now. But it requires us to be generous and not have them, respond on demand, right? It requires so the great feminine gift to the masculine, because we kind of, life is, to the masculine in all of us, life is a fucking burden. Like, there's just so much to do, and I've just got to do this and do that and do this and do that. So your gift to us is your energy, like the flow of energy through your body, whether it's sexy energy or playful energy or sunlight energy or whatever it is that's coming through you, that's a gift. And if you're thinking like, okay, how am I going to gift this hardworking, assuming he's a good guy, right? How am I going to gift this hardworking, good man with energy that he can metabolize? Like you wouldn't, when you're feeding him grapes, you feed him 1 or 2 grapes at a time and let him savor the grape. You don't like shove a whole bunch of grapes down his throat and then go, fucking asshole, how can you take my grapes? Right? You kind of, you tease him and you give him a little bit and you see if he's like, if he opens his mouth wider, maybe he wants 3 grapes, and having that, I think for women, especially having that sense of generosity, like, okay, assuming I'm with a good guy, I'm going to, just trust that he's going to open slowly, right? He's going to, they'll just blast, especially if they're doing work, like if they're doing work to open their bodies and they're getting in touch with their, yearning hearts and they're like, they're in it and they feel it and they're like, okay, I'm going to bring this home and just blast this dude. And his nervous system shuts down.
Yeah.
Like, unless he's trained to circulate energy, sexual energy, unless he's trained to circulate energy, it's like an electrical system where the circuit breaker will go off. So you'll blow his circuits. So I think, to get to your question, when you come in too fast and he pulls away, it might not be that he's not interested. It might just be that you blew his circuits. Right? And then you think, oh shit, he's not interested. And then you withhold your heart and then he feels kind of weird. Right? And so, oftentimes if men are asking you out on more than one date, they're interested. Right? And it's just a matter of they're intuiting, the masculine is always, surveying resources. Like, how much energy am I going to need to hold this woman? And if at some point something feels like, oh shit, this is going to be a little too much energy, then they'll shut down.
And then they'll say you're crazy.
Something like that. Or they'll say you're too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
And it's just,
Wow.
it's a combination. It's literally instinctual. They'll be like, I can't kill the tiger if I've got to deal with this.
Yeah, wow.
If I've got to deal with this, right? I can't one of my clients is an actor and he's pretty well known and he's on set a lot, right? And so his girlfriend's like all over him on set. And he's like, I can't like manage that and kill the tiger, So they broke up, and it was mainly because she just didn't feel into him and feel how much of her energy, whether it's, text is a great way to share energy. She couldn't feel it, so she just gave him too much. But he was into her, and he just at some point, if a guy's on purpose, not thinking about relationship most of the time, they need to be kind of like drawn into it. Like,
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, what's on purpose?
doing something in the world that they're fully committed to.
Oh, okay. It's hard for them to like change their direction.
Yeah, the masculine is
feel
single-mindedly focused. Like
Feel
this
that.
is like I had to kill the tiger, otherwise my family. And this, for 70,000 years,
Yeah.
that's the way that the masculine brain was trained. Like if I don't kill the tiger, then there's not going to be any food. So the equivalent of killing the tiger is I've got to, make my money, or I've got to, write my book, or I've got to, do this. I've got to nail this part. Whatever it is. I mean, you guys kind of know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
you
I
see
know
guys
exactly
like
what
that.
I
You see
do.
guys like that, right? Well, women are much better at multitasking. They can be like, I'm going to kill the tiger and I want love, right? So the modern woman has a multitasking capacity that the modern man does not have. I mean, even though he's a little more evolved, but he's got 40 years of working on this. The feminine has, 60, 70,000.
Yeah.
So they're not evolved enough yet to kind of multitask that way, to be agile enough to go from, okay, I'm writing my book, and then right? And then, okay, baby, I'm writing my book again, right? They just aren't agile enough to do that. So
I've always said that, guys. It's like as soon as they're ready, they're ready. They're like, okay, changing directions. I want to get married. And then they like get married 2 years later. It's like very crazy. Like, I don't know if I've always felt that with friends. I'm like, wait till his friends get married. And then his little friends get married. He's like, oh yeah, everyone's getting married. We should
I'm
get
ready.
married.
I'm ready.
Yeah, like I'm in.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah. Well, if guys think, there's a stage that I think is important, and this is, again, I credit Allison Armstrong. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's groovy. If men are in a stage that she calls young prince, right? And in young prince, or me wants, a king is totally clear, like he's made his money, he has his kingdom, and he's just kind of, I'm clear what I want. most guys in their 30s are young prince, meaning they're focused as hell on building their kingdom. And most women that they're with see that as a lack of love and then complain about it, which then makes the young prince go, fuck, if I've got to be with her and she's complaining and I'm doing my best, can't she see what I'm doing? They'll be, wow, okay, like let me find a woman who's, the problem lots of guys have, the next one will be different. But if a man's in this young prince stage, he's not into relationships secondary to him. Building his kingdom is first and foremost. And whereas for most modern women, they're interested in both. I mean, if they're healthy, they're like, okay, I want love and I want to build my kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And men have not caught up with that. Does that jive with what you guys see?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
How much do you, like in that process of, getting to know someone, kind of surrender your, I don't know if beliefs is the right word, not beliefs, like your non-negotiables almost, what you think are your non-negotiables?
Totally. How much do you compromise?
Thank you. How much do you compromise, like, and if you have some emotional baggage you're bringing in, whether you were in a relationship before or you had this traumatic experience or you've been single your whole life, like...
Or you like having sex with goats. Like, when do you tell them?
I'd hold that one.
Okay.
I'd wait until after the honeymoon. For that. This is my pet goat.
Till you're like,
didn't I tell you I love goats?
We're going to that island that only has goats. And he's like, what is that?
Because I think that's like a problem with like ladies. Oftentimes they're dating and they're like, I'm too picky. So it's like, how much do they compromise what they believe they want or need to like see if it'll evolve and grow? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Right. So I think to answer that question, we have to look at why we choose people. And what they've proven now is that we choose people because of our childhood programming. We just do. We're fucked.
Like, so we choose our dads, or is it more
what we choose is we choose somebody who's going to give us a similar experience that we had when we were young. Could be from our mom, could be from our dad. But think the thing that you never got when you were young. You're going to choose somebody who won't give you that.
Got it.
And then you get to play it out again. Or if they wouldn't naturally give you that, this is what I did with my wife, we will literally cajole them into the space where they're doing the thing, right? We'll make them do the thing. And
can you give an example of that? Or can you expand upon the example?
Yeah. So in my childhood, I was raised with a single mother, right? So the experience of my youth was lack of availability. Like, she's just not around because she had to work. But I don't know that as a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old, right? She's just kind of withdrawn and tired, right? And so I marry, in my early 30s, I marry a woman who loves the shit out of me, right? And just wants to, right? And because I'm totally unconscious to this dynamic, I literally neglect her so much that she becomes unavailable and ends up actually having an affair. And it wasn't until I started to do the work on myself that I saw how she didn't want to do that. Like, I literally pushed her into that space and made her unavailable or made her withdrawn. So this is kind of what we do in relationship. Falling in love with is the imprint that our body recognizes as home. Right? So even our soulmates are actually like little demons in disguise. And because we're going to, they either have that capacity or we already know, our unconscious mind already knows how we're going to maneuver this. And they've been studying this for about 50 years. And so they've gotten it pretty down. Imago therapy is kind of a great way, for your listeners. Getting the love you want describes this really well. And so if we think about that, then sometimes who we choose for ourselves isn't the best person. So, my teacher used to say, if you're a woman, go to your girlfriends. Is this guy a good guy? Is this guy the right guy for me? And it might not be the guy that you would fall head over heels for, but they can feel what you need probably more truly than you can, and they'll choose for you. Now, if you're still unconscious about this dynamic, you'll go ahead and make that guy do the thing. Same thing with men. Like, you know, at the time, I brought my girlfriend I was in a men's group, and I brought my girlfriend this was 6 years ago. I brought my girlfriend and I asked all of them, like, okay, like, am I choosing properly? And I had to wait for them to all give me the affirmative. I probably would have gone in all in anyway. And I think we do that anyway. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as we're conscious. Most of the time we're unconscious that we're kind of playing this dynamic out, and then we get screwed. But when we're conscious, then we can like make art out of it. We can heal each other. We can actually heal the wound that we're bringing with us. So consciousness is the first piece. So when you talk about surrendering your terms as a woman, I don't think any woman should stuff feelings. So the whole is the first piece. So when you talk about surrendering your terms as a woman, I don't think any woman should stuff feelings. So the whole, or man either, but it just depends on the moment. But if you want to be the feminine in a relationship, your commitment, if that's what you want, and you want him to be the masculine, is to be authentically emoting consistently. So let's say the great example of this is, let's say you're out to dinner and he like looks at a waitress's ass.
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Yeah.
Place is on fire.
Yeah. So great. So that's great.
I'm peeling away.
So you could, or he maybe just glances at it or something, and you could stuff it, and then 2 hours later just tear his head off. You could like hiss at him, like right there in the moment, just hiss at him or smack him in the arm or emote, like literally feel the feeling and do something right away. So the primary emotion for the feminine is crucial. So if he's doing something like he's not present or he's not attentive or something, you should definitely emote that. The fewer words, the better. But if you don't emote that, and you chew on it for more than 10 seconds, it then commingles with all of the men who didn't do that, or where your parents didn't do that. And now it becomes part of your childhood programming. And then when you bring it up, it's poisoned with all the stuff that's not him, just having a momentary lapse of consciousness, And so the way that I always try to talk to women about this is, if you are acting that way, like if you're in the primary emotion most of the time, which is, I'm making it sound easy, it's not. It's like spiritual fucking jujitsu to do this. Then if you are and you call more presence out of him, and that happens for, let's say, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, like he doesn't, like, you're crying, you're angry, you're like hurt, and you let him see that, and he doesn't come to presence and hold you in a certain way, and that doesn't happen consistently, then you're out. I think the terms thing is kind of a way to get out before you've actually tested whether he can do the thing that is most important, which is hold your heart, right? And I would just be curious, like, the thing that I find is that many women, men too, but women seem to be a little more adept at this, is their list is huge. Like, we're best friends, and we're this together, and we're this together, and we're this together. Well, probably on that list is one thing that's like 80% of what really matters. Like, he knows how to penetrate my heart and fuck me to God, right? Or he knows how to hold my emotion and like, and make me feel beautiful when I'm crying. Or there's something that he has that's most important that has, and if that's the case, if he's really masculine and you're really feminine, he's not going to be your best friend because he wants nothingness.
Yeah, can we talk more?
Yeah, he's not going to want to be your best friend. He's because best friends don't want to fuck each other. I mean, maybe 100%. Occasionally.
Yeah.
But in a marriage,
is that what you feel about best friends? Like when they're like, "You're my best friend."
Yeah, I can already, like, they're dressing in the same. They have the same. We have a joke about this. Like, they show up in the same sweatsuits. You can see it at workshops, right? Oh shit, like, that's them.
That's them.
And
they're
don't.
The best
And
friends.
there's no fuck.
100%.
I can say fuck. Yeah.
Oh yes.
So there's no fuck in the relationship.
Yeah.
So for there to be fuck, one person has to release their masculine and animate their feminine. Most of the time, that's the woman, but not always. It doesn't have to be always. It can go back and forth. And one person has to release their feminine on a magnet, right?
Yeah.
And that's when there's fuck. if there's not, once you start to get to be the same and you rub against each other enough, there's no magnetism and there's no fuck. And that's because you're mainly the same. So celebrate the differences is kind of a way of me saying, like, animate the thing that brings more fuck.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what we're all wanting. The other piece for women is I find that most of their emotions when they're letting them out happen with a closed heart. And so rage, for example, will happen. Like a woman will rage, right? Because he's just, it's gone too far, and then she's exploding, and it's, again, her whole childhood and everything, and her heart closes. And maybe when she hits a certain point, she'll cry. But, I see this all the time in workshops. A woman who's raging with an open heart is sexy as fuck. Men are just dying. Like you could see them. They're just drawn to it.
What's that like? Like, what is that like?
It's like dark. I mean, because the darker energies, anger, rage, all that stuff, those are the same energies that make sex hot. So if you can emote those with an open heart, it's sexy.
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm raging, but tears are streaming down my face, and I'm like, and my heart's wide open, and I'm showing you how yearning I am, and
I know
that's
what you
sexy
mean.
to a man. And women are always surprised.
That's like
by
when
it.
you get to the point where it's makeup sex.
Kinda.
Because you've opened the heart, you maybe get past it, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah. You just don't need to get to that place where you're almost breaking up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Or you're killing each other. You can be more in the moment and bring it more in the moment. But to train, I talked about men's nervous systems, but for a woman to trust that in her own nervous system is a whole practice.
What does it look like to, it's just, this is what...
No, it can be totally emotional,
Okay.
like totally raging.
Okay.
But just there's no love. Right? Like, so feel the difference between you fucking asshole, I'm going to kill you, and I love you so much, you're a better man than this. Like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, you're a deeper man than this. The intention is, I love you, wake up.
Yeah.
Versus you're just like every other fucker I've dated in the last 3 years.
Totally.
And one pulls a man in, and the other makes him run for the hills. Because he doesn't want to be raged at.
Totally.
So I don't know if I answered your question, but
yes,
that's changed the game for, my relationship. When my parents growing up, it was always like my mom was just telling my dad like what she wasn't getting, or, it was always the lack conversation. It was never like the positive, thinking. And I think it was you who like told me with Justin, it's like starting the conversation with like, you're like, I love you so much. Like you mean everything to me. And then kind of going into like, if there's a problem or if there's a conversation that needs to be had, but like setting the groundwork and like opening it up with like something positive. Like, I love you so much. You're that person for me.
Right.
You are X, Y, and Z, but I'm feeling like this.
Yeah.
The conversation is 100 or 360 degrees different.
Yeah.
It is so different when I like lay the groundwork and foundation of like, I still love you and there is this.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Because I would just always before be like, da, 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 da.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I also try to teach women to say, well, I know you love me, and I know you want the best for me, and I know you
then they're
don't
like,
mean.
yeah.
I know you don't mean. I know you don't mean to hurt me.
Hilarious.
And when you do this, it really hurts. It breaks my heart. It's a whole different conversation where you're not like you're sort of letting him off the hook. I mean, unless he means to hurt you, which most guys don't. Most guys want to be. Breaks my heart. It's a whole different conversation where you're not like you're sort of letting him off the hook. I mean, unless he means to hurt you, which most guys don't. Most guys want to be, we want to be your heroes. Right? Like I work with a lot of men, and there's nothing better than being a hero for a woman that you love. Like and it can be simple, like just knowing what she needs to eat that night, right? Right? And so most women are super adept at the complaint piece, but they're not adept at the praise and like, worship piece. Like, wow, you really felt me. Like here's, so men feel like, they feel like when they do something wrong, they'll hear it for a long time. But when they do something right, there's just a little kind of response or a smile or something like that. So if you want the best out of your man, praise what you trust, praise when he lead you well, and praise and honor his deepest values. And if you do that, that's super. And then gift him with energy that makes him feel alive. I mean, those three things will totally endear a man to you.
Okay. Almost 30 Nation, how are we feeling after part 1 of our episode with John Wineland? Whew. I had to listen to this episode 3 times because different parts of it were resonating with me each time I listened. And I needed time to absorb. I'm realizing that I know I'm young, I'm 30, but like I am still really learning a lot about how to navigate every relationship in my life. And I know Krista feels the same way. It's just, it keeps you humble when you talk to someone like John who explore these different challenges and ways to communicate and express and take other people in. So I'm excited. Part 2 on Thursday. Stay tuned for part 2 with John Wineland. We go even deeper on Thursday. And I loved so many things that he said. A few of the things that I'm like really taking away. The key to a good relationship is celebrating the differences versus trying to make us more like the other. Interesting, I think sometimes I'm like, well, why don't they react like I would react? Why don't they say what I would say? So really taking the time to celebrate the differences between you and your romantic partner, or you and your best friend, or you and your parents. And I also think when he said that the feminine in all of us wants to tussle and the masculine wants everything to come to a nice tidy end. Ooh! Short and sweet, but that's true. They just want a nice tidy end. I'm like, no, I want to talk about it more. So yeah, lots of good ones in here. Please listen again, take notes. I mean, tell us what you think. Join our secret Facebook group. We want to, talk about it in there, discuss, know what you think. There are over 2,000 people in that group talking every day, open, honestly, supportive as hell. We're so lucky. And if you haven't already, subscribe on iTunes, rate and review. If you'd like to do that, we would love that. And share with your friends. If you love this podcast, share with someone that you think would love it too. It really means everything to us and is the reason why we've grown so much in the last year and a half. So thank you guys so much. New episode, part 2 on Thursday. Stay tuned. New episode, part 2 on Thursday. Stay tuned.